Hi, my darlings. I'm Sophie Darling. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're reacting to episode 4 of season 1 of Demon Slayer, and I am looking forward to seeing if we get the final selections. Last episode, we got introduced to Sabito and Makomo, who were helping Tanjiro learn how to embed the lessons into his body and to eventually break this boulder, to not give up when things get difficult, but to keep persevering and moving forward. And then they kind of disappeared in like this weird like shroud of fog. So whether they're actually real or not, I don't know. It does kind of give the impression that they're potentially dead just because of how quick they disappear, and that when Tanjiro slashes the mask, he actually slashes the boulder. So it's almost like it passes through Sabito. So almost as if Sabito is not quite real. Almost as if like he is perhaps a ghost, because we have seen that Tanjiro has like spoken to ghosts previously, because when he was lay on the floor in episode 1, his mom and his siblings come to him and tell him to get back up and that it's not his time yet and that he needs to keep going forward. So he already kind of has that like supernatural aspect going on, so it wouldn't shock me if this was also like another aspect of the supernatural, especially in a show that's dealing with demons. So I think they could potentially be ghosts. They could potentially have been trained in a similar way and passed away, and that's why they've kind of come to him to help guide him, because they want Tanjiro to succeed where they maybe failed, where they weren't able to pursue their inevitable goals and dreams. And Tanjiro is now kind of their teacher's hope to become his heir, to take on all the lessons that he's taught him and carry them on. Because if they were raised and taught as they said they were, and there were other children, it sounds almost as if like none of these children have succeeded, whether that's because they didn't make it through the final selection or they were cut down by demons. We're yet to know, but it kind of gives the impression that they're coming to guide Tanjiro because they want Tanjiro to succeed. They want him to overcome the obstacles he's going to face, and they want to make sure that he has everything that he needs in order to push through the final selection, that they need him to be ready for what he's going to face. But without further ado, we're going to get into episode 4. It's insane that he picked up the breathing. He's enhancing his strength, but I wonder if then, because they said that he smiled with happiness and sadness, if that sadness is because he knows what Tanjiro's going on to face, because he himself once faced it too and was killed in the process. Because they have to be ghosts with how they disappear. Like, there's no other tangible explanation as to how they just fade into
俺が勝った理由
non-existence.
月の糸の匂いが分かるようになったからだ。糸は俺の刃から相手の隙につながっていて、
Oh,
見えた瞬間ピンと張る。
that's kind of
俺
crazy,
の刃は
Tanjiro.
強く惹かれて隙を切り込む。
お前を最終選別に行かせるつもりはなかった。
Is this because he's lost students before?
もう子供が死ぬのを見たくなかった。
Yeah. He was trying to
よ
spare
く頑張
him.
った。炭治郎、お前はすごい子だ。
Gave him an impossible task and he still overcame it, and he did it.
最終選別、必ず生きて戻れ。わしも妹もここで待っている。
I'm gonna cry. That's so cute. He didn't want him to go. He didn't want to risk losing him. He's proud of him nonetheless.
すべての修行を終えた祝いだ。遠慮せず食うといい。
You gotta be strong.
わしがしてやれるのはここまでだ。これから先は修行の時とは比べ物にならないほど、せめて今だけは 何も気にすることなくゆっくり休むといい。
Oh, he's cutting his hair again. I like the length to it. I thought it was cute.
お前のような食べ盛りは食った分だけ力もつくし、体も大きくなる。だが、それは鬼も同じ。基本的に鬼の強さは人を食った数だ。
たくさん食べたら強
That's
く
kind
な
of
るんですか？
menacing.
そうだ。力は増し、肉体を変化させ、怪しき術を使う者も出てくる。
They did mention that demons can shapeshift. Is
お
this
前
his
ももっ
mask?
と鼻が利くようになれば、鬼が何人食ったかわかるだろう。
Oh, that's so
これ
cute.
は
悪女の面という。お前を災いから守るようにと
Oh.
まじないをかけておいた。
Oh, he really cares for him. I love that he cried because he was called remarkable. How long has it been since he's heard such kind words said to him? Probably a long time. I wonder how long the final selection's going to be. Like, is it over like numerous months? Must be.
必ずここに帰ってくるからな。行ってきます。鱗滝さん。
They're wearing the same outfit because he's representing
さっ
him.
さとマコモによろしく。
Oh, they're
な
dead,
ぜお
aren't
前が
they? Because he's like, how do
死
you
んだあ
know?
の子たちの名を知っている。
Because he's like, how? How do you know the names? Oh, that's so
すごい。
beautiful.
こんなに藤の花が咲く時期じゃないはずなのに。
Oh, they're out of season? Could this be an illusion? Oh, they're all. Oh,
今宵
God.
は
That's
視察隊
creepy.
最終選別にお集まりくださ
Oh,
って
God.
ありがとうございます。この藤重山には鬼殺の剣士様方が生け捕りにした鬼が閉じ込められており、外に出ることはできません。
They have wisteria in their
山
hair
の
as
ふも
well.
とから中腹にかけて鬼どもの嫌う藤の花が一年中狂い咲いているからでございます。
Oh, okay. So it traps them here.
この中で7日間生き抜く。それが最終選別の合格条件でございます。
Several days? Yeah, just throw a bunch of kids onto a mountain full of demons. They're all so
7日間
young.
生き残ることだけを考えよ
That's the one thing that strikes me is that they are
う。ま
like,
ずはこの夜を乗り切る。
what,
朝日が昇
13?
れば鬼は活動できなくなるし、体も休めることができる。最も
Keep
早く
moving
朝
through
日
the
の当たる
night,
場所を目指す。
sleep during the day. The fact that he's one day going to be able to smell how many humans they've consumed so that he'll know how strong they are is wild.
上か。
Oh! The music is so good.
鬼。
There's another one. Oh, now they're fighting each other. The solitary hunters.
俺の獲物だぞ。黙れ。早い者勝ちだ。久方ぶりの全力だ。
全集中。水の呼
You
吸。
got this. You got this.
糸の匂い。
Oh, wow.
打ちしよ
Oh, God, that animation style. Oh, that was stunning.
切れた。
You
鬼
did
に
it. You killed two.
強くなってる。鍛錬は
Look at
無駄じゃ
how
なか
far
っ
you've come.
た。ちゃんと身についた。
Oh, I love that he's not unashamed to cry because crying isn't a weakness. I love that because crying isn't a negative emotion. It's something that we all experience because we're human, that he's letting it out because it's almost cathartic. It brings him peace to be able to express it. But it's the fact that, like, he doesn't condemn himself or try to stop himself. He just openly cries without shame. And even when he was crying in front of his teacher, he wasn't condemned for it. He wasn't told to man up because crying is a weakness. It was accepted and normalized. I love that in a show that is geared towards young boys, it's redefining the idea of strength, that it's telling you as a young boy that it's okay to cry, it's okay to be emotional, it's okay to express that and to not bottle it up and hide it. I feel like this is such a positive message for young boys in seeing how a character like Tanjiro behaves and acts, and that his kindness isn't weakness, that his kindness is a strength, his empathy is something that's admired, that he openly cries unashamedly is something that young boys can model themselves after. And it's also something that I really enjoy with Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. And I'm not saying that this is only geared towards young boys, but that the demographic the show is aimed towards are young boys primarily. But I love that it's sort of giving positive connotations to crying because my PhD background is in literature, but I deal a lot with research into masculinity and also the stereotypes around what masculinity is in different cultures and how that pervades into young boys growing up, that they have to bottle up their emotions, that they have to become cold and stoic, and the negative impact that this can have on them as adults in terms of mental health because they have never learned to express their emotions in a positive way because it's been condemned. They've been taught to repress. So for me and my background looking into texts that essentially deconstruct that ideal of masculinity, having shows as well that are geared towards young boys, promoting the positives of showing your emotions, of being in tune with your emotions, is such a delight to me, especially because it's not seen as a weakness, it's not condemned, it's not seen as unmasculine, it is seen as something positive, and that it's encouraging because we do find ourselves influenced by the shows that we watch, by the characters that we enjoy. So seeing masculinity and the concept of masculinity positively promoted, and that can then be modeled by young boys growing up by having characters like this to model themselves after, just really warms my heart because it's deconstructing this negative ideal that men having emotions is weak.
鬼殺隊の持つ刀は特別な鋼で作られており、唯一鬼を殺すことができる。
I wonder if he's going to run into some of the others and we're going to get some interactions between them.
成仏してください。
Oh,
なんだこの腐ったような匂いが。聞いてない。こんなの聞いてないぞ。
is it a really strong demon?
なんだあれは。
Oh, the way it moves is horrendous.
炭治郎、あいつに勝てるかな。
わからない。
Oh,
努力は
is that
ど
what
れだけ
killed
しても
them?
足りないんだよ。
なんで大型の異形がいるんだよ。聞いてないこんなの。
Morph demon. Oh my god, it's already killed someone. What the fuck's a morph demon?
食われた。
Oh my god, look at him. He's getting stronger. Oh! Oh!
俺はもう無力じゃない。動け。
Look at him being decisive. He's like, I refuse to stand by and watch this happen. Look at him go.
また来たな。俺の可愛い狐が。
また。
Yeah.
狐小僧、今は明治何年だ。
Because the others have fox masks too.
連合だ。連合が変わっている。ああ、許さん、許さん。鱗だ姫、鱗だ姫、鱗だ姫、鱗だ姫。
うして鱗滝さんを
Trapped him here.
俺を捕らえたのは鱗滝だからな。あいつがまだ鬼狩りをしていた頃だ。江戸時代、慶応の頃だった。
そんなに長く生きてる鬼はいないはず
That's insane.
人間を2、3人食った鬼しか入れてないんだ。
Why is he here?
藤の花の牢獄で50人は食ったな、ガキども。11、12、13。で、お前で14だ。
The 14th fox
俺が
cub.
食った鱗滝の弟子の数だよ。あいつの弟子はみんな殺してやるって決めてるんだ。
Want to punch him so badly in the face. This is his form of
特に印象に残って
revenge.
いるのは2人だな。あの2人。
Oh,
珍しい
Sabito
毛
and
色のガキだった
Makomo.
な。一番強かった。もう一人は花柄の着物で女のガキだった。
They came to him because they
小さい
knew
力も
what he
なか
was
ったが
going to have to
すばしっこかっ
face.
た。
この鬼に殺されていた。でも俺は2人と。
目印なんだよ、その狐の面がな。
Oh, imagine carving all these masks for your disciples and none of them coming back.
それをつけているせいでみんな食われた。
But he said that he put something on it to protect him, right? So maybe this time it's different.
その後すぐ動きがガタガタになったからな。
Oh, that's horrendous.
足を引きちぎってそれから。
落ち着け炭治郎。呼吸が乱れている。
Oh, they've come to him
も
now.
ういいんだ。俺たちのことは。
They're like, don't let your rage define you. It's going to confuse you. Keep your focus. Oh, the mask is broken.
あいつがやられているうちに早く逃げよう。
He risked everything for you. You fucking coward.
また自分のガキが帰ってこなくてどう思うんだろうな。
Tanjiro is going to be different. He is going to come home. See what I mean? He keeps having these like psychological
まだ動けるのか。
visions
遊
of
びがいが。
dead family members. So he's like in tune with the world of the dead, essentially. Almost like he can bridge between this world and the next.
でも俺の首はシシゲのガキでも切れなきゃってね。
He has that many arms around it, and he's also like covering himself. Like covering his neck because it's his vulnerable spot. Poor Sabito.
こ
Poor
いつはこのまま
Makomo.
にしておいちゃいけない。地面から鬼の匂い。
I wonder if he's different because he has
高い。
the ability to
人目障
smell.
だった。
やっぱり炭治郎も負けるのかな。あいつの首硬いんだよね。
ただ、そこには一つの事実があるのみ。炭治郎は誰よりも固く大きな岩を切った男だということ。
Which means he can slice through his neck. That's why they were doing the boulder. Because if he couldn't cut the boulder, it means he wouldn't be able to cut his neck. And therefore he wouldn't go to the final selection. But because he can do it, he can cut through.
間合いに入られた。
Come on, Tanjiro.
俺の首は硬い。
He can,
こいつは
and he
切れない
will.
首を切り損ねたところで頭を握りつぶしてやる。あいつと同じように。
Come on, Tanjiro. Let's go, Tanjiro. No, it's over already. That was such a good episode. Oh, that was so good. I love that. I think that was my favorite episode so far, even though it was only like episode 4, but still.
みなもぎり。どうだねずこ。兄ちゃんかっこいいだろ。サビトの方がかっこいい。ねずこ。
There's a little crush on Sabito.
ここで大正こそこそ噂話。金髪の少年善逸は選別試験を嫌がって師匠にめちゃくちゃビンタされてきたらしいよ。
So we did see a blonde boy. So he refused to take the exam and then was sent here anyway, despite the fact that he didn't want to do it. There was a blonde boy. So I wonder then if that's the secret. We're going to see him in episode 5 sort of introduced. But I loved the world building in terms of the fact that we got to know more about Uradoku. I'm probably butchering his name and I do apologize. His past, that he's the one that locked this morph demon here 47 years ago or something. And then he's made it his personal mission to kill every single one of Uradoku's disciples because they all wear the fox mask. The fact that it's become this identifier for him to seek out Uradoku's students to kill them as part of his revenge is just absolutely heinous. And the way that Makomo and Sabito died is absolutely foul. Like, Makomo got ripped apart limb by limb, Sabito got his head crushed, and all this because their master was the one that locked this demon here. It's not as if they had any part of it. They're just the unfortunate victims of this demon's malice and desire for revenge. But it all comes full circle with the boulder, because the boulder was seen as this impossible task. If Tanjiro couldn't cut through the boulder, it meant he wouldn't be able to cut through the neck of the demon, which means he wasn't ready for the final selection, and Uradoku would not have sent him to do so because he knew that he would die, that this demon would be on the hunt for his students, that none of his students come back. Therefore, he doesn't want to send Tanjiro because he doesn't want Tanjiro to become another one of these children. If he can prevent other children dying because of this demon, he is going to do so. But he knew that Tanjiro was ready, that Tanjiro could break through the neck because of the force he used to cut the boulder. If he didn't do it, he wouldn't have gone, but because he could do it, he couldn't deny him going to the final selection because he knew that he would actually be able to hold his own. And I love that even in the middle of that test, Sabito comes to him and is trying to remind him that he needs to hold his cool, because in getting angry, he's forgetting his lessons, forgetting his breathing, and he's becoming vulnerable. But we learned that Wisteria, demons do not like it, and therefore it keeps them trapped at the base of this mountain. But my biggest question is why has no one come here to get rid of this morph demon? If this morph demon exists in the mountain and is picking off children and was trapped here by Uradoku, why didn't he come here to get rid of it? Which kind of doesn't make sense to me, unless he thought that maybe this demon wouldn't live that long because it's seen as being unusual for a demon to live that long. And even the young boy that was on the floor that Tanjiro saved was like, the demons here is supposed to have only killed 2 or 3 humans, and the fact that this one exists and he's killed 50 is a bit strange. And then there were the psychic twins that both had wisteria in their hair. They were very creepy. They're very interesting figures because they're the ones holding the test. I wonder if they're older than they appear, or if they're maybe like projections. I don't know. They're just very eerie. But this also emphasized that Tanjiro has a connection to the spiritual world, because he saw his parents when he was knocked out in episode 1. He saw his younger brother in this episode that basically told him to get up again. He saw Sabito and Makomo, who came to him to help him overcome this obstacle so that he could stand a chance against the Morph Demon, because they knew what he was going to face. And that's why Sabito was sad, because Sabito was happy that he did it, that he was able to overcome something that even he wasn't able to do, that resulted in his death, but sad that he was having to face this demon nonetheless, that he would potentially be at risk of dying too, because in helping him cut through the boulder, they're also pushing him towards this demon, not knowing what the outcome will be, if this outcome will be successful or not. Because Makomo is saying to Sabito, do you think Tanjiro will overcome it? And Sabito's like, there's no way of knowing. But they have taught him everything that he needs to know, and he's embodied it, and he's got stronger, and he's slammed it into his flesh and his bones, and he's determined and resilient, and there is just no hesitation with him now. We saw that hesitation completely go. Yes, there was a moment of wavering when he first saw this morph demon, but who wouldn't? It's terrifying and it's huge, and he just watched it kill someone. Of course there's going to be that fear, but he overcame it. He rushed into the face of danger to save someone else, which that boy didn't do for him. That boy was like, I'm going to use this opportunity to get myself out of here. So that just goes to show how selfless Tanjiro is, how he's willing to help anyone in need, even if it puts his own life at risk, even if it puts him in danger, because he truly does care about those around him, even if it means sacrificing his life in the process, even if it means putting himself at risk of dying. He is such a good boy. I say this every episode, but he really is. He's unashamed to cry. He's kind. He's loyal. He's strong. He's refusing to back down, but he still holds on to that empathy, even after killing those demons and knowing what they are and what they do in terms of they are man-eaters. He still shows that respect and empathy in wishing that they rest in peace. He doesn't have to do that, but he does, because he's just that type of person. He shows a kindness to demons that others wouldn't necessarily do so because they're man-eaters. But I think for Tanjiro, because of what happened to Nezuko, that kind of has altered his perspective somewhat, and that he doesn't necessarily blame them for being demons, and that part of him feels sorry for them for becoming this, for not having had any other choice. This empathy that he displays almost poses the question of, are all demons made from humans? Because in showing that kindness and respect, it could be Tanjiro's way of recognizing that they are the way that they are, not by choice, but by chance, and that this could easily have been Nezuko, and that's why he's so empathetic and prays over them, because he doesn't know the situation that has led them to this point. There's no gloating or celebration. He recognizes that these were lives taken, and he has to show them respect regardless. That it's almost as if he understands that perhaps they didn't want to be this way, but were made this way, much like Nezuko was, and therefore he can't find joy or pleasure in killing them. He can only wish them to rest in peace, because he wants that for them truly, now that in his mind their suffering has come to an end, because they've been trapped on this mountain. They're potentially humans that have been turned into demons and have descended into killing people because it's in their nature. They're driven to do it, and therefore he feels a sense of empathy and kindness towards them, but he knows that they have to die because they're dangerous, because unlike Nezuko, they aren't restraining their bestial instinct. That's the difference, is that Nezuko restrains it, they don't. So he can feel sadness for them and wish for them to rest in peace, whilst at the same time not finding enjoyment and pleasure from killing in the way that others may do so. But I love that we see how far that he's come in order to take down this demon that's killed 50 people. Like, that's an incredibly strong demon, and he was able to do it. And Tanjiro has come so far. And this thread, the fact that like through his breathing he can see this thread and it grows torn, and that guides his sword, is absolutely wild. But that's how he's able to know where to strike, and that when it pulls taunt, that's the signal for him to move. And it's all through this breathing technique. It's almost like a honing beacon, kind of like a lifeline. Like in Greek mythology, it's like your life thread. It's kind of like that. Like he sees the life thread and he knows when it's pulled taunt to cut it, because that's the opportunity that's presented itself for him to cut that life short. And it's the same in Greek mythology. But when you pull the life thread taunt, that means it needs to be cut. And then when you cut it, somebody dies because it's their time. So it's kind of almost a similar symbolic function that the thread is taunt because that is the moment that he knows he needs to strike, and that's almost like the death blow. And that is the death blow. But it's so incredibly sad that Urodoku's been making these masks for these children, has been hoping that they'll come back, and no one has managed to do it. And that's why he doesn't want Tanjiro to go, because he fears that Tanjiro will be like all the others, that they won't come home. And there's just something so incredibly tragic at the idea of him making these masks, putting all this time and energy into carving them, into putting these warding spells into them in the hope that it'll make a difference, that this student can come home, and to be sat there waiting and they never come back, and having to accept the fact that you've lost them, that you've sent another child to die, it would really begin to weigh on your conscience, weigh on your soul, which is why he said that the whole reason he did this boulder task was because he didn't actually expect Tanjiro to overcome it, and therefore he could save Tanjiro from this fate, from sending another child to die, because it's getting to him emotionally and he can't bear the prospect of knowing that by his hand another student has been sent to their death. And yes, he's not the one doing it, but he feels directly responsible because he's the one that entrapped this demon. This demon has now taken a personal vendetta against him and his students. When they're all wearing the fox mask, he can distinguish who they are and who their master is. And he's also the one training them and sending them to the final selection. So in his mind, this all is his fault, that he's the reason these children have died. Not the fact that this demon has this weird vendetta against him and has taken it personally that he's trapped him here. It's his fault rather than the demons. It's him that's trained them. It's him that's sent them. And they've died because he trapped this demon, rather than the fact that this demon decided, I'm going to take revenge on him in the worst way possible, which is making sure that none of his students ever come back to him. And it's going to drive him mad. And it's the only way that I can actually hurt him, because I'm trapped here and I can't actually fight him. But it was the moment that he mentioned Sabito and Makomo and just his face. It was like, oh no, that was the moment where it was like, they are actually dead. And that's part of the reason why he doesn't want Tanjiro to go, is because they were students of his that died. And then again, all the children that have been watching that was mentioned in episode 3, these are all the disciples that have passed. And they're all watching and waiting for Tanjiro to be different, for Tanjiro to be the one to finally kill this demon and to do what they weren't able to do, to get revenge for them and their lives, but also for their master, who lost so many of them in the process, that finally their deaths can be avenged and Tanjiro is the one to do it. But the animation is so good. But just the way the water is stylistically drawn, it's like an old wood carving of water. It's absolutely stunning. I just love the way that it's depicted. It kind of reminds me of, I know it's an actual art style, but I don't know what the art style is. But if you've ever played Alice Madness Returns, there is a whole scene that is almost like wood carvings, and you play through this Japanese themed wood carvings section, and it's almost like a similar like spiraling design. It's stunning, and it kind of reminded me of that. But I really enjoy this show, especially the little glimpses we're getting into the world building, how far Tanjiro has come in so short a time, how we learn about the previous students that have died, how Tanjiro seems to have this heightened connection to the spiritual realm, which I think will come into effect even more because, again, he sees his family who have passed on, he sees Sabito and he sees Makomo. So he must have this ability to sense the spiritual in a way that others can't. So I think that's going to have to come into effect again. But I'm also curious why Wisteria is so hated by demons. Is there like an actual symbolic meaning? So the symbolism for Wisteria in Japanese culture is longevity, immortality, and good fortune, often representing lasting bonds and nobility. I wonder if it could be linked then to this idea of longevity and immortality, and that it's seen as a symbol of enduring life. So it's almost like in defiance to the demons that it keeps them stuck here because it's an enduring symbol. It's one that they can't taint or destroy, almost in a way representing the resilience of demon slayers and also humanity, in that they refuse to be beaten by demons, that they continue to train the next generation to overcome them, that this is an enduring symbol of resilience against demons, that they'll never be beaten, that they'll always continuously push back against them. Maybe, I wonder if they'll explain it, because I'm kind of just pulling this off the top of my head based on the actual symbolism, but it could have a meaning that the show has designed it to, that we have yet to be introduced. But I think that's all I want to say for now. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this react, please consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment below to help boost this video into the algorithm. And until next episode, bye!